All right, welcome to the first LEGO League Coaches Conference call. This is something new we're doing this year. I am currently here in Florida at Forest Lake Academy, where the championship tournament will be taking place this year. Doing a site visit, and I have Robert Henley with me, who is the coach here, as well as helping coordinate robotics here in Florida and helping get things going here. Really big supporter and fan, and we really appreciate his support. We're going to talk to him a little bit as we go through. As we get started, just want to give you a little bit of a background and information. Thank you very much for each one of you. Some of you are teachers, some of you are volunteers, and I know this sometimes goes above and beyond the duty that you have. I'm assuming, first of all, I'm assuming everybody can hear me. If you can't hear me, please let me know. I'm going to go ahead and chat in here and just make sure that everybody can hear okay. It's one of the things sometimes we've had a little bit of a challenge with. Let me see if I can get my mouse going here. Lost my mouse. There it is. Okay. All right, so hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Let me know if you can't hear me okay. All right, so anyway, thank you very much for the work that you do and the effort that you put into it. FIRST is a very big program. For those of you, some of you are new to FIRST, some of you have been doing it. I recognize some names of people who have been doing it for quite a while. We're glad that you're all here and that you're making a difference here. But just to let you know, this FIRST LEGO League is one part of a continuation of programs. We have FIRST LEGO League Junior, which covers grades 1 through 4, FIRST LEGO League, which is our upper elementary, and then FIRST Tech Challenge, which is high school robotics. We're also doing that as well. In fact, we're in Forest Lake Academy's FIRST Tech Challenge lab here, where they do their robots. You can, if you're looking at the video, you can see things behind us and see what some of the things that are going on here. So that's here. The fourth program is FIRST Robotics Competition. Those are about 120-pound robots. We currently don't do that. It's a whole different level of robotics and very expensive. And so we're doing the first 3 in the continuation of program and covering everything from first grade through 12th grade as we go through. A couple interesting facts that some of you may or may not know as we go through. There's a lot of different, just to give you the scope of it, worldwide last year, there were over 450,000 students participating in FIRST programs from over 80 different countries. That involved 225,000 mentors, coaches, volunteers, different people like that, 18 million volunteer hours. So if you're a volunteer, thank you very much, and you're very part of a big program, and there's a lot of people like you out there. Over $50 million worth of scholarships are available for FIRST Tech Challenge and FIRST Robotics Competition participants. So when they go on, if they move on to the higher level robotics in this, there's scholarships available, and you can see some of the other, it's really some pretty impressive statistics as it goes through. People who have gone through the various FIRST programs are very much in demand in different schools of engineering, from MIT, Milwaukee School of Engineering. You can see some of the different statistics there. They're very much in demand, very much sought after, and have a big impact in the world of engineering and technology as they move forward. Well, what is the impact of it? First of all, here's some interesting things for you to look at. I'm not going to read all of it to you. You can take a look at it, but quite some interesting things there. First of all, as we've seen, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later, kids that are involved in robotics tend to be more involved and interested in school activities in general. They tend to do better. We have seen over and over again where kids get involved in robotics, and because they get involved in robotics, their grades go up across the board. For some kids who are struggling, they get motivated as they go through there. Has a big impact on their continuing on into technology careers, whether in college and beyond there. So they're actually doing a 5-year longitudinal study that's actually tracking this. So we're getting more and more statistics that are really, really fascinating as we come through here. Here's some more things between 2 to 4 times more likely to be involved in STEM activities because they've been involved in robotics. And this is here again done through a longitudinal study, not necessarily just anecdotal. We've always known anecdotally, hey, this has an impact, but now we can actually see that it does have a big impact. How does it affect males, females, high income, low income, whether you're a minority, non-minority? It makes a big impact on your ability to be involved in FIRST as it goes through there. So that's just a little bit of the statistics. We could spend a lot of time going on and this, but it's really a very valuable thing, and we really are excited about its impact and what FIRST is doing in schools as we go through. So the next thing I want to touch base on here, I want to jump over to the curriculum. FIRST has started out curriculum. So this is something that kind of got introduced last year, not in a big way, but if you're in a school classroom and you're wanting to know how to get started in a school, this is their curriculum. It's available through their website. And you probably received information, you may have received information in one of the emails when you signed up about the curriculum. If you didn't, or if you just missed it as you come through, if you go to the FIRST website under community and you go to, oh, it's not there. Let's look at a different tab here. It's on their main website. I think I'm just not seeing it on that particular, under the dashboard, the menu's slightly different. But in firstinspires.org, under community, there is one for educators. And if you select this under educators, you can scroll down and find their curriculum available here. Keep going down, and then here's the curriculum for FIRST Lego League. First Steps is what it's called. If you click on that, it will it'll ask you to fill out a form, and they'll send you the link and information of how to connect into the curriculum. But it's very much step by step. We can take a look at, I'm not seeing it here. I thought I had it. So, oh, it's actually here, I think. Nope. All right. So just to give you a quick idea of what's here, here's the first module. And as you come into this first module, each module talks about inspiration, work on the project, the robot, debrief. And each one of these has different information, different lesson plans that you can go through. And we'll walk you as an instructor, or even as a coach, if you're not doing it as part of a class, it can give you ideas of how to walk them through there and what to pay attention to. Very, very useful, very helpful as it goes through that. In addition to that, when you're here on this page here, one of the big things here is that now they've correlated with standards there. Okay, we're not seeing it. You're still seeing the PowerPoint. Okay, thank you. Let me make sure I have this shared correctly. It looks like, oh, okay, let me switch. Sorry about this. You see, did that change there? Okay, yeah, thanks for letting us know that. Let me just jump back then, just a little bit then. So if you're looking for the curriculum, under community here on their main web page, you can go to educators, and that will bring you to this web page here, and you can scroll down to here where under the programs, and this is where you can sign up under first steps. Right here is where you would sign up for the curriculum. The curriculum then comes in under Schoology, and this is a sample of one of the dealing with a project, gives you timeline, all kinds of information here of how to do this. I'll jump back into here. We're not going to spend a lot of time going into the details of this, but I want to make sure that everybody's aware that this is available to you. So here's the first module, and you can see each one of these modules. There's an overview and then details on each one of these as a teacher of how to go through and use that. So, all right, and I see someone had some problem with sound. We are recording this, so you will be able to go back and review the first part if you missed some of the sound on this. So, all right, so that's the curriculum. Very useful, very helpful as we go through. Please remember that you need to have 2 coaches screened when you go to the website and you're logged in to the dashboard. And to get into your dashboard on the site here, you can click on My Dashboard or log in, sign in here, where you do that. When you sign into the dashboard, you do need to have two coaches that are fully screened on there. So that's very important to have. And then this is also where now this year, if you've been a coach in the past, it's been a little bit cumbersome getting your kids into the system. This is all brand new this year, and just want to highlight this again where the parents will come in. They'll create an account on here just like you did when you signed up your team, when you created your team. They'll do that, and then here's this parent youth guardian, and this is where they will add a youth and add their kids in. The only information you need to give to parents would be your team number, your first LEGO League team number, and then they'll be able to do that. Once the teams come in, they'll show up here. Here you can see on this particular team, I have 15 team members. Keep in mind, this is a First Tech Challenge team, not a First LEGO League team. So that's why there's more than 10 involved in there, and that's okay. For that particular one there, when you come here, you'll see this is the leadership, the people who are involved in it. You can see I have 2 coaches that are screened here. And then as you come down here, you will see your youth members. In this case, when they come in, they'll be pending here and you can approve them. So somebody comes in and they don't necessarily join your team if you haven't. So this individual here, Gil, for example, has not completed his consent and release. That still needs to be done. But then you can see it's all complete. He's all set to go. If it's got green check marks, you're good. If it doesn't have green check marks, so Martha here needs to be able to get that finished. So in this case, the students initiated it in my First Tech Challenge, and then the parents came back through and helped out with that. All right, so questions come up. I need help completing my registration. I'd be glad to talk to you after the meeting. Which team type should you choose if you're a first type coach? I'm assuming when you're asking about team type that you are you're referring to season pass. The season, if you see something referring to a season pass, that's only for larger schools. If you can sign up to 5, get a season pass for 5 to 10 teams at a time. That's really only something you're going to do if you're in a larger school. Typically, it's just a regular team. I forgot the terminology on that. We can come back up here. Yeah, and then when you come in, it's important. That's a very good question. It's important under your team information. I'm going to come to my team profile. Right now, my region for this team is Northern California. What you really want to have selected is Adventist Robotics League. You don't want to have your state selected. Now, in this particular case, because it's First Tech Challenge, we're leaving it in there, but I can show you my First LEGO League teams and what they look like. Let me come back here to the team list. And so here's one of my First LEGO League teams. If I come to team information here, or team profile under team information, here my region is Adventist Robotics League. If you don't have Adventist Robotics League selected on the region, then you will not be able to see our events or register for our events. So that's very important that you have that selected in there. All right, so that's a little bit on the dashboard and behind the scenes. If you have any other questions, feel free to pop up and let us know what we've got as we're going through here. So any outstanding tasks, make sure you get those resolved. I think this is one that actually has been taken care of. The system has a few little glitches here and there in it, but it's working much better than it has in the past. The FIRST has put a lot of work this last year into getting these systems ready to make them more user-friendly for us. All right. All right, so I have Robert Henley with us here, and I'm going to turn off my sharing here. Let me actually stop sharing, and I'm going to switch back just to the video. And so Robert is with us here, and Robert is the coach here at Forest Lake Academy and Forest Lake Education Center, which is the K-8 program here in Florida near Orlando. And so I'm going to ask, first of all, Robert, how long have you been doing robotics, and First Lego League in particular?
First Lego League, this is my 8th year doing that, and I've been doing the FTC for 4 years.
Okay, so when did you start doing First Lego League, or how did you start it? How did you find out about it and get going with it?
I found out about it. A friend of mine attended the Southern Union Region. And around that time, my son had been diagnosed, my oldest son, with ADD, and I was looking for something for him to do because his learning style is different. And he's a hands-on learner. He likes to take things apart and build. And when I saw the robotics league, I thought, wow, this will probably be what he needs to turn him around. And that's how we got started into it.
Okay, so as you've been going, I'm sure after 8 years, you've learned a few things along the way. What was your first year like? Was it really easy? Did it all come together for you and you just said, oh, this is super easy? Or were there a few challenges along the way?
Okay, first of all, I did this with a friend of mine. He's the IT director for Florida Conference at the time. I was the IT director for Southeastern, and we thought we were going to go in there like game busters and really tear this thing up. And that was the hardest year ever. It was a challenge. As a rookie team, we learned so much throughout the year. And we didn't do good our first year at the challenge, but we were encouraged. But it was a difficult year.
So who learned more the first year? You as a coach, or the kids as?
Definitely me as a coach.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of it, and I know I get a lot of people come in and they say, oh, it's my rookie year, I'm not ready. And of course my advice for them is, well, you'll never be ready. You're never really ready, especially your first year. And I would say every year, you're never quite ready. There's always more that you want to be able to do as a coach. And I'm involved in coaching teams as well, and I know there's always more you want them to do. There's more that you can do. So,
and I want to add, our first year, we weren't ready at all. Southern came up and we weren't ready. And the other coach was like, Robert, we shouldn't take the kids. I said, no, let's just go. Let's go experience the competition and learn something. And we did so bad out there, rookie teams, they made up an award for us. That's how bad we did. But the kids had a great time. So don't worry about, whether or not you're going to be good. It's about the children. Don't worry about the fact that you may not know anything about robots. It's not about you. It's about the kids. It's just about empowering them. So definitely go with it.
And one of the core values of FIRST, of course, is what we learn is more important than what we win. So it's not necessarily about going and winning. It's not necessarily, and we've had teams come to competitions. I've had team once show up. Hopefully you guys won't do this, but I had teams show up that didn't have anything programmed on their robot at all. But it was really kind of a cool experience because other teams found out about that and they all went over and helped these kids get something together, and they did one mission on the table, and there was more cheering for that one team that did one mission than there was, teams that did all kinds of great things, because everybody knew what they were going through and where they were at, and they rallied around them. But please come with something. That's really a good thing to do. But experiencing it, and I know that, over and over, I can tell people about what a competition is like and what you're going to experience. But until you actually go there as a coach and the kids go there, you don't really quite understand what goes into it. It doesn't all come together. You hear about it, and then when you actually go through it, it comes together, and you're like, oh, that's what they meant. That's where they're going. So I encourage you. You're going to have times throughout the year where you're going to be discouraged. And so I think the thing is just press on, keep working with it. The curriculum gives you some guides to go through. So if you're not sure where to start, what to do, you can get started with that and help make that happen for you. So don't give up. Just keep going with it. There's going to be ups and there's going to be downs with that. So if you're, Robert, as you think back on your first year or so, if you're and even if you're an experienced coach, or certainly if you're a coach starting out, what would be, let's say 3 things, start out, think of 3 things here. What would be 3 things that a piece of advice that you would give them? What would be the top most important things that you would share? You'd say, hey, if you've got a team, these are the top things that you would have.
Well, you definitely want to use your experts on your team. You're going to have kids that are experts at a whole lot of things. And most times coaches have the need to know everything, or I don't know anything, so I can't do it. I don't know enough. Use your kids. I got to the point where I don't know everything, and I do not want to know everything. And so if there's a kid that knows something about this program that I don't know, I'll say, hey, can you come up and teach the class this particular program, or show them what you did? And they get a big kick. They look at me and say, what, you want me to teach? I'm like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. And they have the biggest smiles, and they will go up there. And when you do that, you get an ally, you get a coach, a mentor that can help other people. So that's one thing you really want to do.
So when you say use your experts, you're not talking about the guy from MIT that comes to the school. You're talking about kids who really know, surprisingly, sometimes more than we think they do, or will learn and figure it out and willing to jump in and help out with that.
And we don't have the time. I don't have the time, and so I use them whenever I can, and it does wonders for their self-esteem. So that's something I really encourage you to do. Step out the box, let go. I know as teachers, you want to hold everything tight, but it's okay to let the kids experience that.
So what you're saying, use your experts and your students, that means that you don't have to be an expert at everything in order to be able to do that.
That's right. That's right. And it's better that you're not an expert. Let the kids do it. You just know how to order the pizza and make sure that you open a door. That's where you need. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, and that's something you can handle. And even if you're not sure on ordering pizza, I bet you got a kid that can figure that out for you. So, yeah. All right. Okay. Great advice. What would be number 2?
Number 2, read everything you can. Read all the rules and all the everything. You don't want to get to a competition and be caught off guard. Don't leave that up to the students. Take the time to read all the challenges, everything, because I had one year, and this one year I said, okay, guys, you're going to learn the rules. I'm going to sit back, and I had a hands-off approach, and we got to the competition at Southern, and they brought like 5 motors up to the board on their robot.
And the rule says?
Only 3. Only 3 motors. Or 4
motors, yeah.
At that time, it was only 3. Yeah. And so those are things you want to make sure you do. Read everything. Have a clear understanding of what the project is so you can guide the kids. And the rubrics, you definitely want to use those rubrics. They are lifesavers, and they help guide you as to what you need to do, how to prepare the kids.
Okay, so rubrics is a really good little segue here. Let's jump and let me show you rubrics here just really briefly. I'm going to share my screen with you. So this is you can see the rubrics this is just kind of a screenshot on somebody else's website. But even if you're coming back, one thing that we want to note here, if you've done this all along, please note that the project rubric is new and updated for this year. So make sure, if you're used to it and you think you have that down pat, make sure you take a look at the project rubric and make sure you have that and you see what the changes are this year. We scroll down, this particular website kind of highlights them, really focuses on your sources of information, problem analysis, your team solution, and how you've developed that solution. So it's kind of changing the focus a little bit. Having just something cool is nice, but if you really want to be an exemplary team, you actually want to develop a solution and actually try it out, do some testing. We're getting a little more scientific here as it's going through. So just be aware of those changes in the project rubric. The other 2 rubrics, I believe, are left alone. But I think that one of the things that you're saying then, Robert, is as a coach, it's very important that you know those rubrics. Because those rubrics are what the judges are going to use to evaluate your team. The points on the board are fun and it's great, but really the judging and the core of First Lego League comes down to those rubrics and how those teams are judged on it. So the more you know those rubrics, the more you can the more you know them inside and out, the better your evaluation process will go through on that. So, and they're not a secret. So you have them ahead of time. and you can go over them with the kids and say, hey, you know, we want to be on the right-hand side of this rubric. That's where we want to be. We don't want to be on the left side. We want to be on the right side. We want to be an excellent in all the different categories there and be an exemplary team. So let's make sure we do that. And I would just say the other thing that I've seen with teams in there, I'll just add in, is that when they come to part of with first is communication. You'll have in each one of the judging categories, you'll have 10 minutes with those judges. The kids will have, not you as a coach. You as a coach can't say anything. You have to be quiet and can't interact with them at all. But they have 10 minutes. So they may have a fantastic project, but if they can't communicate how fantastic that project is to the judges. So communication, this is where it comes back to, it's more than robots. All right, so what else would you share?
Well, if I can add two more.
Okay.
The third one.
Okay.
The fourth one is, as much as possible, try to recruit other parents to help out along the way. My first 2 or 3 years, we didn't have as much parent support because we didn't reach out. It was, okay, this is a club, you drop the kids off and you go. I quickly realized that to be successful, I needed more people to help out, that expertise in other areas. And also, just by promoting your club in your churches, at maker fairs, Walmart, just set up a booth, you're going to garner a lot more support financially and mentors. You know, people out there love STEM. They're into robotics. They're tired of the sports and varsity. And if you have a sign that says, you know, help raise money for STEM, they will give you money. Matter of fact, Mel, we a couple of years ago set up a booth outside of Walmart and raised $1,000 in like 2 hours.
Wow.
By people that's coming by. And one person said, what? This is not sports? I thought this was a sports thing. It's STEM here. And they gave us money because they see the value in that. Yeah. And that's one thing you definitely want to do, get as much support as you can. Because when you're down, you need somebody to kind of give you encouragement. And the fourth thing, your classroom or your club environment is going to be a loud environment. Do not go in there expecting it to be quiet. Kids need to work. They need to talk. They need to hash out problems or deal with issues. And I always have parents coming in there saying, wow, this is a loud classroom. Like, well, they're learning. We often think that learning has to be where all the kids have to be quiet, you know. And if you come into a club, a robotics club or classroom that's quiet, you need to be concerned about that because they're not learning, they're not communicating, they're not talking. So as far as possible, do that. Allow it to be loud. There's times, of course, where you need to go ahead and rein them in, but don't be to the point where you don't want them to express their thoughts and ideas and always trying to keep them quiet.
It's a little bit of controlled chaos.
Yes, exactly.
Controlled chaos.
That's right.
A little chaos is okay, not out of control, not too crazy.
Yeah.
Need to be respectful. Gracious professionalism still comes in, and some things they need to be reminded about and learn about as they go through. So, all right, good stuff. And you know, as you were talking about promoting your club and just telling people about the club. And I would just add that does a lot for your club, but it also does a lot for your school too, because people are looking for schools that do interesting, creative things with STEM. And if the buzz gets around that, hey, you're doing some really cool, innovative things, people are like, hey, I want to check that school out. Maybe I want to go there. And I know in our school, we've had some significant growth at our school. We've been really excited about it. It's more than just what we're doing in STEM. We're doing other things we need to do right as well. But I think the STEM program and what we're doing for robotics is having an impact there with the kids and the plans there. So it can really make a difference. We want to be Christian schools, definitely, but we want to have quality. And this is something, no matter the size of school you are, whether you're a larger school or you're a small 1 or 2 room school, you can have a big impact on your school and on the quality. You can do the same thing the big schools can do. It's all about what you put into it. So.
And to add to that, we have seen increases in enrollment at both Fleece and Forest Lake. We've had parents pull their kids out of the public school. You know, normally they're going the other way, but we have them pulling them out of public school because of the robotics program, and it's a wonderful thing.
All right, any questions you have for Robert, feel free to pop into the chat there and see what questions you have for Robert or any other questions you have here. We're going to open up for questions. I think we've answered them. just scroll up here and check. All right, I see somebody with a hand raised here. Let me, I'm going to unmute you and let you go ahead and talk here. Go ahead.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. Hi, good evening. Sorry, I logged on a little bit late, but I'm happy for what I've heard so
no
far.
Problem.
Very informative. This is more of, I don't know if it's a technical question, but I have a couple of college students. We're in Tallahassee, and the blessing is that we have several college students that are engineering and math majors that are helping us. We're having our third meeting coming up on this Monday, and we're moving along. I guess my question is twofold. One is more administrative. I'm having issues with respect to one of our mentors who is on like the top level in terms of not just a mentor, but he is like one of the leaders, like myself. And because he has not cleared from the background check standpoint, I can't move on to the next point in the administrative side of it. And I wanted to make sure, I know that I'm on this email, but I wanted to make sure that my kids weren't going to be missing out, because I can't get all the way to be able to at least from my point, see that that our club is recognized as being a part of this Orlando a regional. I wanted to, I guess, first verify that, and then secondly, we're new. I didn't realize until I read through all the material that you had to do the project and the robotics competition. In my mind, I kind of thought, well, we'll do the robotics competition and, kind of work our way to the project next year. And it seems as if you can do anything from scribbling something on a piece of paper to having a working prototype, anywhere in between there, and they have to go through this part of explaining it. Am I right in terms of the range that they have to work within?
Yeah, I would say to a certain extent, a qualified yes on that, I would say, in that, so I'm going to start with the second question, and then I'll come back to the first one. But so I would say on that, yes, to a certain extent. However, clearly the more involved you are, the better the judging, your results in the judging will be. If you don't have a project, then you can't qualify for the Champions Award. And really, you're expected to have a project. That's really what we want everybody to do. How far you go into that is up to you. You can, if you have mentors and that kind of thing, getting them involved. I know we have schools that are doing field trips to water treatment plants. They're watching videos. In fact, I was just watching and observing their class here at Police, and there's a Nova video about the debacle in Detroit. Yeah. Great stuff on the importance of our water system this year. Right. There's a lot of great opportunities to explore that. You could negotiate, interface with your classroom teachers to integrate some of that into your science curriculum for your kids, which could be some of the investigation could be broader than just your FLL team. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. I think it adds a huge dimension to it as far as in the first Lego League level. For doing that project, and really adds the dynamic to it. It doesn't have to have anything to do with robots as we go through there.
And Baldwin, I want to add this. I have sub-teams. I have a sub-team that does the robot and a sub-team that does the project. And that helps too. There's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah. And so another way of saying that is within your team, if you've got 8 or 10 kids on your team, some of them can specialize in certain areas. Now, what shouldn't happen is you shouldn't have 2 people that just do the project and never touch anything else, or some people but you're going to have some people that are better at programming, and they're going to love programming. Well, you don't want to have the people that can't stand programming doing programming, because they're probably, now should everybody learn some about programming? Absolutely. But they can somewhat specialize. They need to be familiar with everything that's going on. So if they're asked by a judge, it's not like, I don't know anything about that. That was somebody else's job. They at least have some kind of idea of what's going on there. So, and that can help with that. To go back to your first one, as far as the screening goes, yes, you need to have you really should have anybody screened, certainly, that's involved. Of course, our schools have their own requirement if they're volunteering with the schools.
Right.
But you need to have 2 coaches screened. So the short answer to that would be that's not going to hold you back. If you're paid, the hard deadline is coming up, or the cutoff that's going to be is whether your team's paid. You can't register for the event until you have all your teams. You have 2 screened coaches.
Okay.
But you can work with that. And once you're paid and you're in the system, you won't get lost, and you're being tracked on the back end and make sure that you're there. And obviously you got this email because you're a paid team member, is who we sent this out to. So yeah, you're still good to go there. You're not going to miss out, but please continue to follow through with that so we can get you registered for the event with that.
Thank you.
So, and just to follow up on that just as well, keep in mind that all of your teams, all your team members need to be signed up. We referred to that at the beginning. Every team member needs to be in there. They must have a consent and release from their parents in order to participate in the event. It's a requirement. The best way is to have the parents do it electronically. Then you just have to you just print out your roster. And we'll get into that a little bit more as we get closer to there. But all your team members need to have consent and release signed by parents. You can all be done electronically. It's the best way to do it.
Awesome.
In there. So,
thank you, gentlemen.
Question is, yep, you bet. Thank you so much. The question is when is the hard deadline? When do you need to register for the event? So the hard deadline is, maybe I used the wrong term. I'm not sure when that is. It's not as hard. It used to be a really hard cutoff on a date from first. Essentially right now for signing up and paying for your teams, we have a certain allotment of teams that we've been given every year that we anticipate. When we use that up, we use that up. And so that's kind of, and there will be a cutoff coming up soon. We're not there. We haven't heard exactly when first is going to say, okay, enough, but they're more flexible than they have been before. And some of this has to do with the fulfillment and how they get field setup kits, because they have to when you think about it, when you have 20,000 teams and you're negotiating with Lego for field setup kits, each one of these they're now called the challenge kits, challenge sets, the field and all that kind of stuff and all those Lego pieces. They have to anticipate ahead of time how many of those they need to make. And they have to have Lego go through all that. So that's a lot of field setup kits and a lot of logistics going into there. So, so as far as that goes, that's not a super concrete answer to that question. When do you need to register for the first event? For the event, that can be done anytime. That's a very fluid thing in there. We want to know that you're there and register. We want to get you in there as soon as possible as that comes through. So please don't procrastinate. We want to get everybody signed up and make sure we're not missing anybody. The main thing is that, for example, Robert is the tournament director here in Florida. And so each one of the tournament directors needs to know how many teams to expect so they can plan on judges and how many volunteers they need, what materials they need. So the sooner you get in there, the better it is for them and their planning. So the team members, for their signing up, they just have to be signed up before you come to the event. So you have plenty of time for that. There's no hard deadline on that, except that you have to have the consent and release for them to participate in the event. They need to be on your team roster there. So, okay, so hopefully that answered that question thoroughly enough. From Ron, I've created a team profile and paid the registration. I found a second coach waiting on the background clearance. Have I completed registration? So you have registered and paid for it, but you haven't your team is registered, but you haven't completed everything you need to do. So you're good to go as far as any deadlines as far as first is. You don't have to worry about first cutting you off on there if you're paid and ready to go, but you do need to get that completed so that you can get signed up and registered for the event. So you want to get that going as soon as possible, but you've got a little bit of time with that. You don't have to panic on that, but please use due diligence and get that done as you go through that. All right, any other questions as we go through? Great questions. Thank you so much. These are great things to cover as we go through. There's been a lot of improvement with FIRST in the programs, the new firstinspires.org website and the whole back end there where parents parents and team members and everybody can come through, as well as our volunteers go through there. A lot of big improvements. We anticipate it not being quite as cumbersome as before as we go through there. How can you get connected with a mentor that's done this before? Best thing I can do is talk to the tournament director in your area, in your region, and they can help get you connected with somebody who's done it before and somebody you can talk to. Certainly connect in with these conference calls and get connected there so that you can see them. And you know, we'll be able to do that. But definitely connect with whoever your regional tournament director is. If you don't hear back from them, let me know. I'll be glad to do that. My email and contact information is on adventistrobotics.net. You can get a hold of me through there if you need to. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your commitment. So if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, that's me. So get a hold of me. And if I don't get a hold of you, get a hold of me, and I'll take care of that. Yeah, question about the timeline. We did talk about the timeline. Not sure what your question is, W. Tucker. You can clarify that a little bit. We did talk about the timeline and when you need to get things done. Once you're in and you're paid, you have more flexibility on the rest of that. So, yeah, let me just make sure we covered that. I think we covered that. Oh, a suggested timeline for, for finishing tasks. I would say if you're looking for a timeline for finishing tasks, the best thing I would do is look at the curriculum that's available, and that you can use that kind of as a guideline for going through there. You want to get your core robot build, talk about them, and get in there, get things started. Oh, let me give you one resource I didn't think about as well, and I'll just type this in the chat as well so you have it. But EV3lessons.com is a really cool resource, a website made by a team with a lot of great material there. Just a little side note, EV3lessons.com, great website, resources for teams and that kind of thing. A lot of cool tools in there that can be really useful. Robert, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I'd say you want to shoot maybe for a month to 3 weeks before your match, so that you're practicing and rehearsing. You don't want to wait a week out trying to figure out what you have done. So we always try to have everything done a month before. It always doesn't happen because we were dealing with young people. But if you can have most of your work done by then, you're not rushing. You know, it's because when kids feel that pressure of trying to get stuff done, they don't respond well. So our tournament in Florida is March 25th, so if you can have everything done by February 25th and take into account you might have spring break in there, I think that would be a good target to shoot for.
And that's really good advice. I know on our first Tech Challenge team, one of the things that we try not to do is go right up to the wire, because there's always practicing, there's fine-tuning, there's things that you don't expect that come in those last few weeks. And so if you're right up to the wire, you're not nearly as prepared for the tournament. You're not as relaxed when you get to the tournament. You're not as confident. And half of it is that just having that confidence as they go into it and knowing, hey, we know, and you know, can you do every mission on the board? No, you can't. It's impossible. They've made it impossible intentionally, okay? You really can't do everything, so you're going to have to pick and choose what you're going to do. Even the really good teams don't do everything on the board. So choose what you're going to do, and then, you know, you can always add a few things where you say, yeah, this is what we're going to accomplish, and this is where we're going to go with it, and then we'll add to it beyond there. If we want to add a few things, we have time, great, but we'll make sure we're confident on that. We have our project wrapped up. We know what we're doing there. So, so hopefully that'll help you. We will be doing these conference calls once a month. So the same link for registering that you've done here is one that you can have available to you. So we'll do this once a month and just include some different people and just have a chance for you, give you some different tips, that kind of thing, trying to help you out. We will post this online, so if anybody missed it, We're recording it, and I'll post it up on and send out a link by YouTube. So you'll have reference. You can go back to it as well if you need to. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody very much. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you for Robert for hosting us here in his robotics lab for his first Tech Challenge team, and we just really appreciate that. And thank you to everybody. And hopefully you have a good evening. And if you have questions as you go along, feel free to email and let us know. Thanks so much and have a good evening.